to a bit of a chat, don't we? Because actually, that's the point. I've got something here, chaps, which I need to. I'll know it off the top of my head. Hang on.
If he gets this wrong, it's all on camera.
Last week, wasn't it?
He's only writing his shopping list.
Well guys, welcome to episode 19 of OverDrive. I can't believe we're getting there, we're that fast already. 20's around the corner, chaps.
Getting old.
I drag Malcolm first of all to a car show.
I have a look at a rather rare classic.
And I get brought strictly down to earth with a Corsa.
On with the show.
Okay, so yes, as mentioned, me and Malcolm, because Martin was unavailable, we took a...
I was washing my hair.
There's a joke there somewhere. We took a bit of a road trip, 70 odd miles or so south to Derby, my old stomping ground. We paid a visit to Markeaton Park for the annual classic car show, although it did feature a bit of everything, didn't it?
It did, yeah. So we've got a bit of old, a bit of new.
And the thing is, someone threw me a teaser by sending me some pics as well while I was busy, and I was confronted by these pics on my phone. And
I think Martin was decidedly jealous.
Yeah, was.
But yes, well, we had a good time, didn't we? And plenty of nice cars to film, very nice weather as well. So let's take a look at the Markeaton Park footage. Hello guys, and welcome to this feature for episode 19. Slightly unusual today. We have done a bit of a road trip today, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We've travelled 75 miles, or thereabouts, to Derby, back in my old stomping ground. Join us here in Derby at Markeaton Park for the annual classic car show. I say classic car show, it's kind of got a bit of everything, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. It's modern, it's old, it's everything.
As you'll probably see in the background. Well guys, welcome to the first car, to say, of the show today that we're going to look at. And the first one that we've got is a Porsche 993 Targa. Pretty rare car this, we don't see many of these, hence why we're going to have a look at it today. This particular car is a 1996, so it's the last year of the air-cooled Porsches, some say the last proper Porsche. I've had a chat with the owner, it's pretty much a cherished car these days, and it's pretty obvious to see, to be honest. So, take a look. So, as you can see, full black leather interior on this car, and I think the nice thing about this is that it's got all the creature comforts of a modern car, but still that classic styling of Porsches of old. All the modern features we've got. Obviously, you've got your audio system there, we've got air conditioning, all your electric windows, central locking, all your usual stuff that you'd expect on a modern Porsche, but with old styling to match. Obviously this one, of course, 6-speed manual. Yeah, so this one's a Targa, as you can see through the roof here. It's a glass roof, slides back below the glass panel there of the rear window. This was a pretty nice thing back in the mid-90s. There weren't many cars that really did this kind of thing. Obviously you had sunroofs and things, but an electric glass roof to slide all the way back there for that sort of space is quite unusual. But to find a Targa, very rare indeed. And like I say, hence why we're having a look at this car today. Let's have a look at the engine. Engine tucked right in under the rear deck there as well. You've got your oil filler there just hidden away in the corner, and obviously your induction system there as well. That's the air-cooled car. It does have a distinct sound as well. You only tend to get that sound from the air-cooled Porsches. As you can see, I think one of the main things about this that I like about the car, as I mentioned previously, is that it's got that old classic styling, but with more your modern features. One thing I want to touch on, as you can see, this car is modern enough to be fitted with airbags. Driver's one, of course, in the steering wheel, and the passenger one there in the rear dash. Now, looking at that dashboard there, you would not think that they would be able to pack a passenger airbag module in there, but in fact they have. And you've got to remember that this was not the most expensive Porsche at the time, but it was a very expensive car back in the mid-90s. And people kind of expected these kind of things by then. They expected the safety features, they expected the luxury features. Obviously you've got your electric seats there as well. Everything really that you'd want from a car costing that much. Really nice car to see. Just don't see many of them about. The Targa really is an all-love model, as I mentioned, and I'm struggling to see why, to be honest. Being the last air-cooled Porsche, I can only see the values of these going up. Okay then, around the front of the car, being the engine in the back of course, you have quite a lot of space in the front. It's actually a surprising amount of room in there. I wasn't expecting to see that much space, so it's actually a car you could really use and go away on holiday even. You go pack a couple of bags in there, really nice. Also you got these projector headlamps, which is quite a nice thing back in the 90s. There weren't many cars that did this, and hence you've got your headlamp washers there as well. And of course, very famous, your teardrop door mirrors. Very distinctive Porsche. Being a Targa, it hasn't got the big whale tail spoiler on the back of this car, and you know what? I'm not concerned with that at all. I think without the spoiler, it's got a classic shape, and it is a very distinctive Porsche.
Now we have an absolute passion of mine, an MGTF, and not only that, it's one in British Racing Green Pearlescent, or British Racing Green 3. HFF if you need it as a code. Now, this one is one of the last of the lines. This one was circa 2005, literally built within the last month before Rover finally collapsed. Built in March 2005, sold in March 2005, Rover went under at the beginning of April 2005. So this is literally one of the last. A couple of things you can notice on this. It literally has every single option you can get put into this. You've got the heated rear the glass rear windscreen, you've got air conditioning, everything you need. And it's a VVC. So as standard it was 160 brake horsepower, but this one's been remapped by Z&F. So it brings it up to what was the planned spec of around about 175. Unusual interior, because usually the British Racing Green cars were black. Now this one's a sandstone and ultracut. It's quite unusual, you don't usually get this mix. But it suits it, it looks pretty good, it's different, it stands out. A couple of things I really like on these, and remember from my days when I had one, is these. The way it flips out at the side. But you have to be careful because quite a lot of these have broken clips. Despite what many people say about these cars, they are actually phenomenally good. The engine being mid-mounted gives it a bit of a strange balance, and if you're not careful you can get caught out. The MX-5 has the engine in the front, this has engine here in the mid. When it started it was either a 1.8 standard 4-cylinder or the 1.8 VVC. Then they come out with the 1.6. You can tell the 1.6 because the covers around the air vents are actually black, as are the mirrors. The number of things you can add to these cars is immense. You can add roll hoops, you can add all sorts of different accessories, and you can literally personalise the cars to how you want. There are suspension options, there are all sorts of things that aftermarket that you can add. The thing is though, if you've got one that's in original condition, it might be an idea to keep it that way, because the values of these are set to go up. now the original Mark 1 MGF is starting to increase in value. So it's not going to be long before these start to do the same. Obviously, look at the car, check the condition, see if it's worth you actually going in and investing in it, but I'd say snap one up while you can. Keep an eye on it, look after it, it'll look after you. However, if you do decide to go a bit off the rails and drive it a bit hard, yes, it will try and kill you, but you'll go through the pearly gates in a fireball with a grin on your face. Definitely would get one of these again, and I can't wait.
Something pretty rare that we're coming in. A 1989 Volvo 760 GLE V6. Yep, you heard that right. 2.8 litre V6. I think, if I remember rightly, and don't quote me on this, around about 190 odd horsepower at the time, which was no slouch, put that way, even for a car this sort of size. This was not a cheap car when new. You took in over £28,000 30 years ago for this, which was an incredible amount of money for a Volvo. So it wasn't the most expensive Volvo you could buy at the time. And when you look around the car, you can start to see why that is. It's absolutely loaded. Air conditioning, anti-lock brakes, all-round electric windows, electric heated door mirrors, electric sunroof. It was literally, I don't think there's anything else you could get back then. Full leather interior, of course, heated front seats. And just a remarkable car. To see one in this condition, these cars are absolute tanks. They're very long lasting, but because they were very long lasting, you tend to find them in not so favourable conditions as years went on. This one, as you can see, absolutely fantastic condition. Minor little imperfections here and there, but this is almost a daily driver, I'm told, so you can kind of expect that. But your automatic gearbox in there, it's a 4-speed auto, your air conditioning, your audio system. Okay, we'll have another look around the driver's side in a second. Let's have a look at the back seat. Take a look in there. And I think you're going to be quite surprised at how many gadgets there are on this car. Like I said, this was the most expensive Volvo you could buy in 1989. You're about to see why. Check out them seat controls down there. You've pretty much got all your lumbar support that you want there. Up and down for the seat, of course. Down there again for the bottom section. Your backrest there, backwards and forth, and obviously your forward and back for your seat there. Of course, the button to stop it, of course. Electric windows on the door there, and of course your door mirrors. All your lighting controls as you'd expect on that side, and then you might not be able to see this on camera. You've got your heated seat buttons there between the front seats as well. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that Volvo were clearly thinking about safety back in 1989, even as far back as that. Obviously, this is a UK spec car. US spec cars at the time already had airbags fitted to them, but you can tell even through the shape of the steering wheel there, it's a flat face, so even if there was to be an accident, this car doesn't have an airbag, but you're not going to injure yourself in the same way as if something poking out from the steering wheel there. So many buttons on the inside just kind of tell you how many gadgets this car has. Your air conditioning up top near the vents, below that you've got your audio system as well, and of course, as I said, this car fitted with the 4-speed automatic gearbox makes for really relaxing cruising. Power steering is standard, of course, and as I mentioned about safety, even 30 years ago this top of the range 760 had ABS as standard, not something you saw very often back then. So it's been really nice for me to see a car like this today. You just don't see many of them about, especially well looked after as this. Like I said, there's some minor imperfections here and there, as you expect of a 30-year-old car, especially one that's near enough a daily driver. But to see one in this condition is quite a surprise, and that's why we took the decision today to take a closer look at this particular car. Even though, as you may see on camera, we're right next to a manual Ferrari 360, but to be honest, there's enough videos of them on YouTube as it is, so we don't need to add to them. This, however, something of a rarity. Been really nice today. Thanks very much to Owner for letting us look around the car, and hope you enjoy it.
And that was the Classic Car Show down here in Derby. And even though it's now after 1 o'clock, the show's been open for a good 3 hours. Yeah, 2-3 hours now. There's still some cars arriving.
Like I say, we're trying to mix it up yet again with the content, and I think we've managed that.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of got everything for everybody. Yeah, we've filmed 2 or 3 cars, and you're going to hope you've enjoyed watching. It's been alright for us. You've enjoyed yourself, haven't you?
It's been good.
Reminisced?
Yeah, definitely.
Hope you enjoyed this feature, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of episode 19. So from us here today, see you later.
Bye.
Right, so that was a trip to Derby, which looking at that now, I wish I had sort of wangled my way there, but there you are.
These things happen.
Bringing it to another end of the scale, and like I did say, down to earth a bit, we're going to take a look at a little Corsa. So that one's coming up now.
Right, hello guys, we've just got in after filming some shots there, so we've just got inside this 1.4 Corsa, haven't we, Craig?
2010 Corsa. It's mine, replacing the old silver Astra that you've seen on our channel before.
We're back in episode 10, I believe.
Episode 10, indeed, with the blue one, yeah. Yeah, it's a fairly standard car. We're just going to do a quick review for you today, because we have got other stuff we need to film. So
we have, yeah. So it's a quick touch on the interior, isn't it, first?
It is fairly standard. This is an exclusive model, although it's not particularly exclusive. It's the one up from the base model. So you've still got your wheel trims and everything on the outside, but you have got a few more features from the base model.
Wheel trims, yeah.
Yeah. Not so much of a problem as you might think. Sometimes having alloys can be a bit of a pain.
True.
But anyway, it's one up from the base model. We've got all your standard features, your air conditioning, which does need a regas. After we found out last week when the UK had its, for you overseas viewers, had its hottest day ever on record at 38.7 degrees. Yeah, I certainly reminded me this aircon needs regassing.
For us, that's a biggie. For some guys watching this, it might not seem much, but for us,
in your hotter countries there, you might think that's not too much, but it was absolutely scorching over here, wasn't it? Anyway, moving back on topic. Not a huge amount to say about it, really.
Well, it's just I won't say it's your basic sort of car, but it's just your usual creature comforts. I will say these seats are brilliant. I actually like these seats. They're not
extremely comfortable.
They're not dull in any way. You've got this nice striping that breaks it. They are fairly comfortable. I like these side bolsters that seem... They're not far off being off really sporty seats. They're really...
Well, these are the same seats that I had in my Corsa SRI.
Well, there you go, you see,
with a different pattern.
Yeah.
They're very comfortable, hold you in place. They're not too bucket-like, they're uncomfortable.
No, they're just, for a car of this nature, they're just about
absolutely perfect. And the thing with the Corsa as well, it's not perfect. It has got a few interior quality issues that I found with my last car. This one seems to be actually holding up a bit better than that, even though that was a newer car. But the thing about it, it is quite cheap on the materials, although Martin has pointed out to me off camera, should prove very hard wearing.
Yes, if you can live with just a bit of tinniness and gratiness, but at the end of the day, how easy these are to clean, and if they get any marks on, they come off easy, or they don't really get dinted or broken. I think this is why sometimes they do it for a reason. It's actually good hard wearing plastics, which is probably what you want.
Doesn't maybe look particularly appealing, but it will do the job.
Serves its purpose, actually. Yeah.
The interior on this car is brightened up slightly from the base model with this nice silver console, and on the steering wheel as well.
Sort of the brushed effect silver, and I like some of these buttons out there. In this car, for a small car, things seem chunky, but the main buttons for the volume and the stereo and the temperature gauge, all big and chunky. Your stalks, I've noticed, seem very big and chunky, but also a bit stubbyish.
Yeah.
But it's just the nature of how it's laid out.
Stylish. It's not meant to be the most stylish thing in the world, but it's fairly stylish, and it's all nice and neatly laid out.
It is, yeah.
See why they're used a lot as learner cars, can't you? Because they're very easy to understand.
Very user friendly, I'd say. Everything's quite easy to get your head around, which is probably, as I say, like for learners and that in these sort of cars, what you need really. You don't want to be complicated by having to do certain
I think
things.
It's a very well packaged car as well, considering it is fairly small. We've got plenty of space in the front, plenty of space in the back, and a fairly decent sized boot as well.
Yep.
We've not compromised too much on that side of things.
The way I'm sat in this seat at the moment, excellent amount of leg room, and the seat isn't really far back, so I'd say plenty in the back for I won't say your bigger passengers, but your average size passengers.
The only thing that does surprise me about this car, it's 100 horsepower roundabout on this one with it being 1.4, and you think with a small car that would feel plenty of power, though I still find it a little bit on the sluggish side. But I think that's probably down to the fact that even though it's a small car, the Corsa is quite a heavy car. Can be an advantage and a disadvantage on that. I suppose good in an accident, but fuel economy is not too bad, but yes, it does suffer a little bit in the performance side of things.
So it's not to 60 times out really going to set the world alight on this.
I don't even know what it is. I think it's probably about 12 seconds.
Yeah, you're really not going to be wanting to.
It's not the concern.
Flooring it around, because it's certainly not that sort of car.
Yes, as you can see, you can probably see it is the family hack, and it does serve its purpose. It's very practical. Anything you've add, Martin?
Well, basically, I mean, I'm coming from a car now with all touchscreen malarkey and all that, and how things are lesser with the buttons, but I do notice the display, what we find now, is very tiny, but at the time was cutting edge for these cars. There now you've got a display integrated into the centre of the dash. All your dials are really brilliant and clean and crisp to see.
It does look quite 80s with the orange.
It is sort of gone, but Vauxhall at the time was using all these sort of orangey digital things in all the cars. I remember my Astras were same, and they ran with it for a long time.
Right up until around about 2014. It didn't matter if you climbed into a Vectra to an even going into an Insignia, and so it were always orange digital displays. And I think the people who own Vauxhalls warmed to that anyway. But at the end of the day, it does the job, doesn't it?
It did. It served its purpose, and it still does in a car like this.
But yeah, like I say, replace the silver Astra, and hopefully it'll give me, my family, a few good years of service. We'll touch on it's not the most stylish or,
it is what it is, and it's just a nice little tootling around car really, and. Like I say, its performance figures are never going to set the world on fire, but that's not what cars about.
That's not what we're designed for. But as we've proven today, and Martin's had a chance to have a ride in it today, which has been a long time since it's been in a Corsa, we can see why it's so popular. It's not just because the fact there's a lot of dealers about, lots of Vauxhall dealers about. It does the job. It does the job fairly well. Yeah. It's not without its problems. You do have a few technical hiccups here and there. I have with all cars that I've had.
You can with any.
But it does the job and it serves its purpose.
But it's not a dark, gloomy place to be in. With a nice light headliner, which I think it needed in a car like this. It is like a metallic grey colour on the outside, which you'll see and all that.
It does the job.
It just does the job. It's one of those says on the tin things, really.
We're aware it's not the most interesting car in the world, but here on OverDrive we do pride ourselves on filming any car, and so along with the thing,
just before we'll wrap up on the interior, I will say this sort of shows us as a whole. We will do bog standard cars like this, and then we'll go to the other end of the scale and pop up some surprises now and again that will make you think, I've never seen one of them. I don't think I'll ever see one again in my time ever again.
And funny you should say that, because we've already filmed such a car, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum to this. They made thousands and tens of thousands of these.
But not many.
The car we've filmed last week,
last Sunday,
that you will be seeing very soon. They made a very small number of them. It's an incredibly rare car.
So it just shows what OverDrive's all about, from the everyday norm runarounds to the what on earth is that? So that's what you will see.
But for us here today, like I say, we're aware it's not the most interesting car in the world, but we have reminded ourselves today why they are so popular. So I hope you enjoyed that. But from us, we better wrap up.
We will say a quick goodbye for now from the interior of the Corsa. We shall catch you later.
See you next time.
Bye.
That was the Vauxhall Corsa, which I'm sure Martin and Craig thoroughly enjoyed.
Terrific.
What's that?
Do you know what? It's that sound that I keep hearing every time in the distance. It just appears out of nowhere, but as we're trying to speak, it gets louder and louder. It's the jingle!
Okay then, the discussion time.
It's that time again.
Oh, that jingle.
You love it, really.
Yeah.
Well, he's got it back now. We hijacked it that one time and that's it.
We have got a bit of a cheat sheet again here as last time. We have had to retreat indoors off this one. We have had to retreat indoors for this one.
Well, this is the thing.
We'll plan to al fresco again, won't we?
Well, no, this is the thing we wanted to do. We retreated indoors because where the horrendous weather has been, since we've had as nice hot weather.
Actually set up indoors, it's not raining.
It's not
As I've noticed, this is why I'm saying this now. You think, we don't know it's happening. But anyway.
We're here now anyway, so we'll crack on. Now last time we had a discussion of, I think it was 5 cars that European cars that didn't really work in America. Now we were going to do the opposite for this one. I've decided to make a little bit of a twist on things though, really, to make it a little bit more interesting, hopefully. So what we've got is 5 cars here, or makes or models, that basically have done well in countries where you wouldn't necessarily expect them to do well.
Oh, right, yeah.
The first one, kind of a bit of a twist on the truth on that, but anyway, because it was kind of intended for there anyway, but we'll go with it because it's an interesting, very fascinating car and story all the same.
Okay.
The DeLorean DMC-12.
Oh, yeah. Back to the Future. Get your hoverboards out.
Yeah. Now, obviously, built in Belfast, of course,
Yep.
from I think 1981 to 83. Produced in fairly small numbers as well. Now, I say fairly small. The rumour is there's around about 9,080 odd made in total, although production figures for DeLoreans are notoriously sketchy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate on
Yeah.
actually how many were made and this, that and other. Now obviously you think, oh, surprised it did so well in America, but really that was where it was designed for. Obviously very famous for its looks and its construction and
Back to the Future.
And Back to the Future, of course, not to forget that. Obviously being designed for America, the vast majority of them were left-hand drive, and the lights and everything on them were designed to conform with obviously American regulations, which are pretty strict, of course, and obviously the emissions and that kind of thing. Although at the time, I believe the emissions, European emissions, were probably stricter than the
Outside California, yeah, they were.
Probably
California did have
Very
incredibly strict because of the smoke problems around.
and still do.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the America, the European emissions regulation at the time actually I think stricter. Now, in terms of right-hand drive DeLoreans,
They'll be a rarity.
incredibly
Hen's teeth sort of thing, isn't it, that?
Rumour has, from what I can find, and again getting details of this is a bit sketchy, so I apologise if I'm wrong, only 16 were factory made in right-hand drive out of them 9,000.
That is a tiny amount, isn't it?
I think there were about 30 odd converted after production by DeLorean for evaluation purposes, because obviously they did intend to bring them to markets like in the UK, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and also they did realise there was a need to get some development cars in right-hand drive to see how everything was going to work. And obviously cars that, I think the very few that were sent to the UK were, the lights were changing everything again to conform with our regulations. I believe, it wasn't Mocky Pop, but a few years ago I did see a right-hand drive DeLorean, incredibly rare cars. So maybe not so much as a surprise on that one, but moving on to number 2. So make and model really on this one, so Rover and MG, and specifically, we are talking about Rovers, but it was specifically the MG RV8 and the Mini.
Yeah.
Okay, very popular in. I bet Malcolm will guess where this is without looking at it. Let's put this to the test. Where was the RV8 popular, Malcolm? And the Mini, actually, the Rover Mini.
The Mini was actually really popular in Italy.
It was, but that's not what.
And in France.
It was.
But the
Where else was the Mini popular? There was a boom for it in the
I
90s.
knew this only because I've looked at the used cars
Germany.
specialists where a lot's come back for sale.
The RV8 and the Mini were both very popular. There's a big boom for them in the 90s. Where was it?
that I'm not sure of actually.
It was indeed Japan. But yes, the RV8 is around about 1850 odd, I think, produced. and around about 1,500 of them went to Japan, and the rest were sold in the UK. So that gives you an idea of a British sports car that the majority of them wasn't sold in Britain.
But I think it's a beautiful car. It's a very
and it's interiors
yeah,
gorgeous, really well made, highly specified. I mean, all the Japanese cars, and possibly the British ones, now came with standard air conditioning, which was obviously, but you expect that at the time because the Minis did as well. All the Minis that went to Japan had standard factory air conditioning, which was not something you got on a European Mini.
No. It's just those little fun things, but I loved Minis, and I still do, and I still would.
But they were really,
they
were really popular in Japan. Japanese obviously went mad from in the 90s, Minis, and the other plate, and Rovers as well. And because there's been a few, obviously they sent the 200 coupe, the R8 coupe to Japan, didn't they, with a few changes.
Do you think it that bit of Britishness?
I think so. I mean, the 200, basically the Japanese spec ones were basically a 200 but with every single factory option as standard. So you had full, I think you had electric adjustment on the driver's seat, you had full leather, you had factory aircon, and also they all had the third rear brake lights at the back, which is a requirement for safety, which the European ones didn't have, of course. And the other place was Spain. Rovers were incredibly popular in Spain and quite popular in Portugal. If anything, our visit there a couple of years ago is anything to go by. Well, certainly back in the day, maybe not so much now, but back in the day, Rovers were everywhere in Spain and very popular. So that's somewhere you might not necessarily expect them to be, but it certainly was. Now the next one, I haven't actually got any sales figures for it. It's proved extremely tricky to try and track down, but I do know from experience from the past that Morgan Motor Cars produced obviously down in there in Worcestershire, isn't it? Extremely popular for some unknown reason in Germany. They seem to be absolutely crazy about
I cannot really see no connection there.
No, I can't, and I think that's what makes it so surprising.
I can't see a connection between a little car manufacturer, Morgan, and Germany.
I mean, Morgan still use a lot of old traditional manufacturing types as well.
Well, this is it. They're not actually even using any German parts, are there? Anything like something that Germany can connect with.
I don't know why, but there's some reason why they just seem to just took off over there. Maybe it's the British, maybe. I mean, obviously we do know that Rovers again.
Well, I could think of a political joke here, but I won't.
No, Rovers, as Malcolm will tell you, particularly the 75, did very well in Germany, didn't it? And you might think, well, why would they want a British car? But then they got the BMWs and Mercedes, but it did reasonably well. But anyway, going back to Morgan, I think that's got us all baffled, really. But
that's what's actually thrown us with this, Morgan and Germany. I still can't find no connection.
No, I can't.
If there's anyone out there that can tell us, please enlighten us, because I'd love to know a connection.
Number 4, a car that's been extremely popular over here, Dacia. And we haven't mentioned this on OverDrive before. Now you might think, well, hang on, that's not a surprise because they're owned by Renault in the Salford Renault garage. But it might not necessarily be the benefit that you realise, because in 2012, certainly in the UK lineup, Renault's range was pretty much chopped in half due to falling sales and things like that. We lost the Laguna. We lost the Kangoo sort of car version. You can still buy the van. We lost the Modus, and very, very nearly lost the Megane as well. That survived by the.
That's actually one of their flagship cars.
So yes, Renault were particularly in a good position back then, and right at the end of 2012, and I know because that's the first Dacia I saw was in December 2012 in the flesh. They launched the brand. Now, this was never sold in the UK before. It could have completely flopped. It could have people, I don't know what, and gone and bought something else. But for whatever reason, maybe because they're super low priced, good value for money, people didn't care, and they sold like hotcakes.
They still do.
And they still do. And up until the figure they got up to 2017, so even they're a couple of years old. Even so, they still sold over 100,000 cars in this country in 4 years.
Those will be all pre-facelift.
Don't you think that's a bit like when you hire Hyundai and you first started out?
Yeah.
Do a bit of
pride.
the Kia Pride, just a little shoebox on wheels. Yeah, and really they were.
Yeah, but the difference was they were slow burners.
There was.
Dacia, as soon as it
Oh, they just boomed onto market and that's it straight away.
that's it.
But
They sold like hotcakes. Like I say, up to 2017, over 100,000 cars sold in this.
But do you think, and I'll say Dace here, it's just the way people announce it, but don't you think, will they catch up to the same sort of speed as, let's say, Kia? Because look at where Kia are now.
Because if you look at the new Duster, I mean, the old Duster and the new Duster, from afar, look very similar. When you get close, the old Duster has its rear windows inset. The new Duster has them flush with the body panel.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more of the new Duster than I am of the old.
Yeah.
And that only got launched, end of last year, so it's not even been on the market.
A full year.
A full year, yeah. And I'd say at the minute, for the ratio that I see these things, you talk about 4 to 1.
So it is a good progression, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is growing now.
2012, the Sandero was facelifted quite heavily, so they obviously then they decided, well, we may as well just wait till that happened and then launch that car, which is what they did. But they certainly captured the imagination of the British people and sold like hotcakes, don't they, really? And you can see why. There's a lot of people out there who don't want a car full of gadgets. They just want a basic
just want to go frills car, yeah.
Which is pretty unusual in this country. You can walk into a garage and walk out with a brand new car with a 3-year warranty for much less than £10,000, and for some people, quite frankly, that's all.
Without even having to steal it.
Last one. It's been pretty well documented in the past, I suppose. Mercedes, how popular it is in sort of Africa and South Africa.
Yeah.
Well, we experienced this, and we may as well mention it. Obviously, Top Gear touched on this when they went to Africa, the Botswana one, and there was basically for the Merc they had there was looking for some spare parts, and it didn't matter which corner they turned on the street or wherever they went. Somebody would say, "Come here, come here," and they had a door, they had a tailgate, they had the bumper, they had everything. You could basically rebuild a Merc, and
you'd think, why was Mercedes thousands and thousands of miles away from its homeland?
Yeah.
So popular.
But a German car firm with that certain car, I just don't get how they all took to it.
Well, the thing is,
what was the appeal?
I don't necessarily think. I mean, I think if you in this, say in Europe, a place like that, Mercedes' appeal is its image. It's quality, but it's image.
The thing is, you're not talking about a car that's gone to a country purely because it's sold like mad because parts are easy to get. Because there wasn't.
I don't think it's sold in Africa and places like that because of its image. It's sold because of its reliability.
Built like tanks, they just run and run. Yeah.
I don't think they probably gave a stuff about the badge. I think it was the fact the car started every time you started it. It went wherever you put it. It never broke down.
So many must have gone there for them to accumulate so many parts. But you saw they used everything, didn't you? Taxis, police, the lot, didn't they? Whatever they could find a function for them there, because they had it.
They've been converted into ambulances.
That's it. That was everything. Yeah.
It was crazy.
If you have to look at it as well, the older type. So about the same generation as the one we looked at before, the 300D.
Yes, exactly.
That sort of generation and before, around that sort of area. So those were the cars that were built for, being bomb-proof and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically tanks, weren't they? Yeah.
I wouldn't probably expect a modern-day Mercedes to last as well.
Modern cars are so full of electronics. They're so reliant on electronics. That's what I think would be the down.
There'd be a much more simpler car then that they could
probably just as strong
on and do all sorts.
But they're just so. Whereas look at the Mercedes that we looked at a couple of weeks ago. That was 300D.
Perfect example, isn't it?
It was pretty much entirely operated off vacuum, wasn't it? It was very few parts on it were actually electronic, and I think that's
that's one of the things that helps.
Why it lasts so long.
Yeah. You track down the pipe that's leaking, you replace it or you fix it, and that's it. Your car's back.
No wires, no electrics faffing about or anything like that. No.
I'm sorry, but if it isn't. If it's not electronic, it's not going to go wrong in the same way.
No.
And this is why the cars have got such a reputation for durability. And
why to say that?
Yeah, why they're so popular in places like Africa, where the roads aren't always that good. The infrastructure isn't always as I suppose strong as it is in the place. And this is why cars like this last so well.
was Craig's jingle.
Volume down now.
Yep. So, on with the last of the features for this episode, and that is a Marcos GT V6. And this one's quite unusual because it's not quite standard.
It certainly isn't.
Let's have a look. As promised in episode 17, we now have Gary's other car. Do you want to explain what it is, Gary?
Yes, this is a 1970 V6 Marcos GT, built in the factory in Bradford-on-Avon. I've had it about 12 years, and it's the first time it's been out for a few weeks, so here we go.
This the second time it's been out in a few years.
Yeah, I took it to a classic car rally a couple of Sundays ago.
Francis Albert Costin, better known as Frank, joined up with Jem Marsh to form Marcos, taking the company name from the first 3 letters from each one's surname. But Frank wasn't the only Costin to make an impact on the motoring world. His brother Mike joined up with Keith Duckworth to form one of the most legendary motor companies around, Cosworth. Anything in particular you can tell us? So it's a V6 engine.
Yeah,
Original
it's the
engine?
Ford Essex engine.
Yeah.
Develops about 150 brake horsepower.
So
I've done a lot of modifications to this car. It's got TR6 wheels on, wire wheels, they're tubeless.
I noticed they were they're not the original wheels, are they?
Yeah, that's right. The original ones went out to Germany. I sold them to a bloke out there. They were mint, but they weren't for me. I know some people will say, well, why are you taking them off? You know, it's going to devalue the car, but I don't think it will do. I think these wire wheels look a heck of a sight better than the original Marcos alloys.
I think it's also a bit too rare for it to devalue it that much.
That's right, yeah, because these cars are getting very sought after. Not saying that I want to sell it, because I don't.
Is this
Certainly not at the moment, anyway.
Is this the classic you're keeping hold of then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
A couple of things I noticed, they've got loads of switches.
Yeah, with no ident on it.
No.
And then sometimes I hit the wrong one. Now, the original dashboard I've altered, as you can see. I've put these gauges all round in like a rugby ball shape, and I thought they looked really nice like that. Now, the switches used to be at the top across, and they were all rocker switches, but these are Lucas flick switches.
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing project. They're okay, they're functional, but I'm going to make a nice plate to go in there and put ident on them all.
Okay. So what have we got in terms of the dials? Are they all original?
Yes, most of them are original, or the Smiths types.
So what have we got? We've got amps for the battery and volts.
Yeah, that's right. That came originally with the car. The voltmeter I've put in, the clock I've put in, and the vacuum gauge is what I've put in. And then these are free temperature, oil, and fuel. They came with the car.
Okay. And we've also got manual choke. Right at the end there.
Yes, it's got auto choke on though. That actually controls the.
So it's not a choke.
No, it's not the choke. No, it's actually
I should know
the
that.
heater.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you're pulling in and out for the heater valve.
That's right. Yeah. The heater matrix I've put underneath the bonnet and rerouted the pipes so that it's easier to get at. The original one was off a Morris Minor, and that would behind here now. Can't remember whether I've taken it out or not. It's ages since I've had this top off here. Yeah, that's what I've done with that, because heater matrices are very difficult to get at in most cars.
Yeah.
And if they start leaking, they're an absolute nightmare.
And in this one, I can imagine, because you haven't got effectively compartmented areas that you can take off. You've got
that's
to
right.
take the whole thing out.
Well, originally we had the handbrake down here on the floor.
Okay.
It was terrible to get at.
Yeah.
So we had to like go like this. So
It
I
was-
moved it up here and put it on a bracket so it's much better, and then I cut all the gearbox tunnel out. I was going to make a moulded one so it looks all nice.
Yeah.
But that's another job that I haven't got round to.
One of those things. And it says overdrive.
Yeah, we've got overdrive on 3rd and 4th gear.
Okay.
It's a Ford Zodiac gearbox that's in here.
So it's kind of a lot of original and some sort of modified.
Yeah, I've done
sections to it.
subtle modifications and alterations to the car.
Now, is this original?
Yes, it is, yeah. I think that's out of a Betford van. It's the courtesy light. And then obviously down here we've got the pedals.
Yeah.
Now, these seats don't move.
They don't move at all.
Fixed seats, so if you want to reach your pedals you've got a knob on here that you just turn, and it's got a spiraled gear, and it moves the pedals backwards and forwards.
Yeah. So basically, you're moving the pedals, not the seats.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Which
then-
were a quirky Marcos thing.
Well, I think was it Lamborghini did that as well.
And I think the head restraints, I think Marcos were one of the first manufacturers to put head restraints into a car.
Good idea with safety.
Yeah, well that's it, you see, because they did a lot of racing as well.
And I do like the mirror.
Yeah, it's
Tiny though.
tiny, yeah. You can still see out of it alright though. These wing mirrors I've fitted myself, because
Yeah.
when this car was built it probably didn't have wing mirrors.
Probably not actually. 'Cause you
Well,
wouldn't use
occasionally
anything.
people put them on the wings further forward.
Yeah, because I know a lot of earlier cars just have them down there.
That's right, yeah.
I actually prefer them, that sort of area.
Yeah, except I can't see hardly anything out of that one.
I can see me. Oh dear. Lovely view up here though, oh nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
This just
beautiful
compliments
view.
compliments the car well.
Yeah, we're about 1,000 foot above sea level here, I think. as
We
well.
are. I think it's certainly the highest point in Yorkshire, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
If not the highest point.
Yeah, it's funny looking down on Emily Moor over there.
Yeah, and it's a windy day today as well.
Warm though, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Right, anything else about this particular car? So we're looking at what's the sort of horsepower on this?
Around about 150.
150.
Yeah.
And how big's the engine?
3 litre V6.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the same engine that they put in Capris, some Cortinas,
Yeah.
Scimitars and some early TVRs. Parts are pretty easy to get hold of, yeah.
And in terms of things like steering rack, things like that, is that all?
Right, steering rack, it's a modified GT6 rack.
Right.
Goes through several UJs.
Yeah, because
Yeah, the column's actually nearly horizontal.
yeah, you can tell that from the landing of the steering wheel. There doesn't seem to be much adjustment there.
Rear diff, that's 4 Cortina Mark II.
Yep.
3.77 ratio.
Yep.
Front end, I've got trunnion-less drop links on now from Canley Classics.
Okay.
Uprated stub axles, alloy hubs. Obviously we've had to mess about with hubs as well, machine them down on the lathe to get them to fit, these wire wheels to fit on as well.
And most of this you've done yourself.
Yes, most of it I've done it myself, yeah. Although the car was restored when I bought it.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, the chassis was galvanised by the previous owner.
Because this one is the sort of the less common galvanised chassis, isn't it?
It's actually more common. It will be. It is rare to get a galvanised one, but the early Marcos cars were obviously made out of wood. The chassis were wooden. and then they went on to steel for a couple of reasons really. People used to laugh and say, well, they'll get woodworm, but they actually outlasted the steel ones. And another reason was the wooden chassis, they were very labour intensive, whereas a steel chassis box section chassis can soon be welded together.
So if one needed to be replaced, you could very, very quickly make one if you've got the schematics and everything else.
But like I say, fortunately this chassis is absolutely mint and it's galvanised as well. It's funny because I took it to an MOT a few years ago. It's MOT exempt now, and the bloke was poking about with a screwdriver, and I says that's the runs from the galv. I says it's not rust.
Let's have a listen to that engine.
Electric fuel pump.
That is a really, really nice sound.
Yeah, and it's running nice. This engine's lovely.
It's running.
Yeah, other than that, they're good engines. Originally they were when Ford started with these engines, their idea was to make a diesel engine out of it, and that's why they've got substantial, really over-made bottom end bearings and everything. They're tough. They take a bit to break one.
Somebody's no doubt tried.
Yeah, more than likely. There you go.
So a lovely companion to your 300D then.
That's right. Yeah.
For many people, this will simply be the car that got destroyed at the beginning of the original Italian Job movie. But for some people, it really is a passion. It's very distinctive in the way it looks. Some have commented about it being similar to an E-Type Jag. And before forming Marcos, Frank Costin did used to work for Jaguar, but didn't actually work on the E-Type. It's admired wherever it goes, and it's very distinctive in the way it looks. You won't see many of them around at all. So this then is one of those cars that comes round once in a lifetime. And this one is truly unique, with various modifications done by Gary to complement the car, rather than change it completely.
Okay, well that was the Marcos. We all very much enjoyed that.
Oh, what a car that was. I must say, whenever this goes out, it is only a week since we filmed Marcos for that, and what a car.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often a car like that comes up at all.
No, I mean,
even at shows.
When Malcolm mentioned to us that it was filming the Marcos, I immediately thought of the later ones, which was the Mantis, I think.
Yes, that was going to the
again,
end, wasn't it?
Still sold in very small numbers, produced very small numbers, and I remember the Mantis because it didn't have Mondeo rear lights.
Why is it a lot of cars from Mondeos?
Yeah, but the thing is as well, a lot of small volume manufacturers did that anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're developing your own stuff like headlamp units and things like that is very expensive.
But can I just say that not just meeting the car and where we took it on location and things, but one thing for me which will always stick in my mind is when we was getting to where we was going to film it, and we was all driving along, and we passed through, I will say, we passed through home first, and it were the looks that the car was getting when we were in stop-start traffic, and there were times when we were in the traffic and I could see, obviously, Craig in front of me and Malcolm, and I couldn't see the Marcos. He was so small and low down, and all of a sudden you'd hear the V6 engine.
You said his head's going.
And you thought, he's still there in the group. And it was just little things like that for me that made it special.
If you look in the footage, you see this car, and it looks like this black thing's towering over it, which is your car.
Yeah. It just seemed as if it just wasn't there until you heard it. And
what a noise it was. You could tell it was a V6, couldn't you? But it also had a distinct rumble to it as well.
It did, and I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
And Anyhow, we better wrap up now.
We better also be climbing into episode 20 before we know it.
True.
We all seem to rabbit on too much, don't we?
We do.
But anyway, yes, that was episode 19. Plenty of variety, as is per normal for us.
As always.
I've really enjoyed it. Anything else for you to add, chaps?
Not really.
Just here's looking forward to episode 20, I guess.
Yeah. Episode 20. Anyway, we better wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly have.
We have, as always.
We'll see you next time.
We will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.